There we go. So, hi KMS. This afternoon we are here with Mrs. Handford, 6th grade language art teacher extraordinaire. And I'm going to talk to her about what she's been doing in quarantine, what she's been reading. How are you doing, Mrs. Handford?
Good, good. How are you, Mrs. Warnell? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing pretty good. It's, day by day.
Yes, that's for sure.
So, what, besides all of the technology issues and this online learning stuff, what have you been reading? Have you been able to read?
Yes, I made a New Year's resolution at the beginning of 2020 to read for 30 minutes every day. So
That
I've been,
is an awesome goal. I do that like every now and again during the week, but I've never done it try it for the whole year. That's awesome.
yeah, I needed to do it because I love reading, but sometimes I don't end up making time to do it at home. So that's been good. So I've been reading some novels, probably for adults, but this one's called Saint X that I got at Costco because I liked the cover and I was grocery shopping and I read the back, and it's kind of a murder mystery and I enjoy books like that. And I just finished that one last night. And then this other one called The Nightingale.
Oh, how is that one?
I just started it. I finished the other one last night, and then I started this. Mrs. Lingholm loaned it to me. And so it looks like it's a historical fiction kind of book. So I'm excited to get started on this one. And it's a thick one. But if I keep up with my resolution, then hopefully I'll be able to finish this one in not as long as it would have taken me before if I wasn't reading every day. So I'm excited to start that one.
One thing about this quarantine, when I was going through what I could do as a librarian that fits my job with online stuff, and it's not online, but I'm so far behind in reading books that I buy for the library. That's actually been like, okay, one thing I can justify is reading. So I've been trying to do a lot of reading.
Right. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. I've been finding I have a little bit of a hard time concentrating because there's so much going on that I'll start reading, then I'll lose track and not pay attention. But it is good that we have more time now. It's a good way to fill some of the time that we have.
For sure. Okay, so were you a reader in middle school?
I was. I liked to read series, and I remember the Babysitters Club series when I was in middle school. I enjoyed reading those books, and there were like 50 of them or more, I think, at the time, and I would get those books for Christmas, and so I think I read that whole series when I was in middle school.
You know, those have come back around because a couple really great cartoonist type artists. One of them is Raina Telgemeier. She wrote like The Smile and Sisters books. You've probably seen your kids reading them. She has been doing a graphic novel series of the Babysitters Club. Her and a couple others, they're like switching on and off, but they've gotten really popular. Kids love reading them, and they're just they take the first book and make that into a graphic novel. It's kind of fun to see.
That is great. I thought I had seen something like that too. So that's exciting. It's fun to see some of those older series coming back in a different way. So that's
sure. Becky, Mrs. Crane and I were talking earlier. I did hers earlier, and she did. We were talking about Sweet Valley High and how both of us read those religiously. I read those, and then most kids don't know, but the Vampire Diaries books were actually published in the late 80s. So I was in high school, but I read all of those in high school. There wasn't a ton in that series, but man, I love those too. A lot of people think series books are more popular now, but they've always had those. The series, it's just nice that some of them are only trilogies and not 50 books long.
right. Yeah, I read a lot of Nancy Drew series when I might have been in 4th grade or so. When I was reading those. But yeah, lots of good series that have been around for a long time.
I always get delighted when I have a kid or two come through, and almost every year it happens. It's like their parents say, well, why don't you read Hardy Boys, or why don't you read Nancy Drew? And I always have a kid who will read a bunch of them, mostly in 6th grade. And I just love seeing that.
Right, right.
My
Yep.
favorite.
They're
Yep.
still good books.
Yep. Well, do you have any weekend plans for reading?
Well, I'm going to start my new book from Mrs. Lingholm. So hopefully, usually on the weekend, I can get a little bit more reading done because I'm not doing as much grading and things like that. And so I'll probably do some of that this weekend.
That's nice. All right. Thank you for joining us, Mrs. Handford. I hope you have a great Friday.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I've really been enjoying your library classroom. So thanks for all the reading you've been doing too.
Thank you. I've got to do quite a few chapters today to catch up. I try to do like 3 or 4 days so that I can post them, but I have to keep it. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Talk to you later.
All right. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.